The Gilded Age of the 1800s was also the golden era of the Vanderbilt family, marked by their luxurious homes, lavish parties, and gratuitous philanthropy. At one point, they were the richest American family, with a net worth equivalent in today's market to $185 billion. But their dollars have since turned to dust, so where did it all go? Cornelius Commodore Vanderbilt brought the family into prominence by turning a $100 loan, worth approximately $3,000 today, into a booming shipping business. He began his career in inland water trading, sailing barges across New York Harbor, but his vision didn't stop at the shore. He envisioned an expansion to his business inland that would connect the railway systems with his steamships. It was literally a $1 million idea. However, the Commodore's first ride on a train wasn't so smooth. While traveling at speeds of 25 miles per hour, his train derailed, throwing him down a 35-foot embankment, resulting in 3 broken ribs and a punctured lung. Several passengers were also killed in the accident, but even those deaths did not deter the Commodore. In fact, he went full steam ahead with his plan and expanded his empire to the growing railroad industry. By the time of his passing, the Commodore was the largest owner of railroads in the world. The Vanderbilt's wealth expanded as fast as the U.S. railroad could, creating a nationwide monopoly of the service. At the height of their riches, the Vanderbilt fortune was greater than what was held in the U.S. Treasury. Once the Vanderbilts became a prominent family, they became obsessed with projecting the appearance of extravagant wealth. They threw lavish balls, purchased expensive foreign art to decorate their opulent homes, and spent a reported $250,000 on a costume party. That would equate to around $6 million today. The Vanderbilt's singular purpose for their famous costume ball was to facilitate the family's acceptance into New York's high society. Though the Vanderbilts were certainly as wealthy as the New York elites, they were considered ostentatious due to their recently acquired riches and thus deemed nouveau riche. As a result, they were snubbed by their high society peers. But they spared no expense for this ball, especially when it came to Alice Vanderbilt's electric dress, which celebrated Thomas Edison's recent invention. And the ball was a success. By the end of the party, the New York elite were reportedly chatting with the Vanderbilts like old chums. And their expensive outshowing of their wealth didn't stop there. The new generation of Vanderbilts were born to such an excessive and spoon-fed lifestyle that spending was outpacing what they were collectively earning. Though some may think that they wasted their money on self-serving endeavors, the Vanderbilts' philanthropic efforts were also a sizable dent in their fortune. Third generation William Vanderbilt donated $1 million to the construction of tenement houses in New York City. There are also hundreds of thousands given to Columbia University, the YMCA, and city libraries. Real estate expenses also ate into many of the inherited fortunes of Commodore's offspring. From 146,000-acre estates to prime real estate in downtown Manhattan consisting of 10 mansions on Fifth Avenue. The Commodore's grandson's mansions cost a reported $3 million in 1883, which amounts to about $70 million today. This was where the Vanderbilt fortune really started to fracture. By mid-20th century, most of their housing and land was either torn down or sold, as the family was no longer in a position to maintain their holdings. With the proliferation of interstate highways, the railroad industry plummeted, along with the Vanderbilt's majority shareholdings, which they sold off in the 1930s. Perhaps the most notable Vanderbilt was the fourth generation, Cornelius' son, Reginald Reggie Claypool Vanderbilt. Reggie was an avid gambler, notorious playboy, and the first generation who didn't build upon his family's fortune. He was also the father of fashion designer Gloria Vanderbilt and grandfather to CNN anchor Anderson Cooper. As the family grew, the fortune was dispersed between more and more of the Commodore's descendants until it was spread too thin. Within 30 years of the death of Commodore Vanderbilt, not a single member of the family was among the richest people in the United States. In fact, by 1973, none of the 120 living Vanderbilts were even millionaires. After the dynasty fell from prominence, the family began regarding their inheritance as a curse. As such, Gloria did not share any of the family money with her son, and it won't be passed on when she dies. With a net worth of $110 million, he is by far the most successful Vanderbilt alive. And like his great-great-grandfather, Anderson's fortune was self-made. Unlike his descendants, Anderson wasn't born with a silver spoon in his mouth. Gloria made it a point not to coddle her son like so many of her relatives were raised and subsequently spoiled. As a result, Cooper grew into a driven and hardworking man who overcame dyslexia to become a world-renowned and highly esteemed journalist. According to CNN, he is one of the highest paid people on television, bringing in roughly $11 million a year. In addition, he's won numerous awards, from Emmys and GLAADs to a National Order of Honor and Merit from the Haiti government for his work during the 2010 earthquake. It seems that the drive to excellence that the Commodore display is still well and alive in Cooper. Today, there are only a few other Vanderbilt descendants that live an upper-class lifestyle, although nowhere near to the level of their ancestors. That list includes actor Timothy Oliphant, who starred in Deadwood and the film Hitman, musician John Hammond Jr., and screenwriter James Vanderbilt, who worked on the Amazing Spider-Man movies and wrote Zodiac. Ultimately, the story of the Vanderbilts is a perfect example of what goes up must come down.